Welcome back to Sports Extra, presented by Toyota. This is a special story. If you're a New York sports fan, especially of the Knicks, Rangers, or boxing at MSG, then you have surely enjoyed some of the greatest moments in New York sports history through the lens of George Kalinsky. In 1966, over 5 decades ago, Kalinsky became the official photographer of Madison Square Garden. In 2001, George was honored with the highest award you could win in the photography industry with the PMDA's International Photographer of the Year. But now, on September 10th, Kalinsky will be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame with the Curt Gowdy Electronic Media Award. This past week, we had the chance to visit George in his Upper East Side home to discuss this high honor and some of the great moments and people he's captured forever through the lens of his camera.
I'm just so honored that to have this Curt Gowdy Media Award. It's a privilege to be able to photograph in Madison Square Garden and to go to Shea Stadium and Citi Field and Yankee Stadium. It's like I have New York on my shoulders, but it's not heavy. It's not a burden. It's something that I feel I'm lucky and privileged to be in New York, to be able to capture these events and these moments.
And you built such great relationships with Willis Reed, Patrick Ewing, Earl Monroe, Phil Jackson, all of these men that played for the Knicks that are now in the Hall of Fame, and you're going to be joining them in their Hall of Fame. Have you heard from any of them?
The other night I went out to dinner with Earl. Bradley calls me. Willis and I speak almost at least once a week. People don't realize that we still, that the relationship that you have at that time doesn't disappear. It only gets stronger.
How did building those relationships with them also impact the way that you took photographs of them?
I had lunch with Willis May 8th, 1970. Willis could hardly walk into the restaurant. I said, "You're going to hurt yourself if you play." And I was really worried about if he played. And all of New York was wondering, is Willis going to play that night? And I said, you can really get hurt. And he said, this may be the only time, once in your life, maybe you have an opportunity to win a championship. And I'm going to play if I have to crawl out on the floor.
So that set you up for that moment, for that iconic picture of Willis walking into the garden floor.
That picture didn't become important until 5 or 10 years later. And so a lot of pictures that you take that, for example, I took a picture of John Lennon and Elton John. It was the last time that John Lennon ever performed on the stage before he was shot.
I did hear that Frank Sinatra said you were his favorite photographer. Take your time, George.
I first met Frank excuse me. I first met Frank when he walked into my office and he extended his hand. It was about 2 days, 3 days before the first Ali Frazier fight. Ali Frazier won was one of the greatest events that ever happened in the Garden. And Sinatra walks in, and it was too quick to be shocked. So, and he extends his hand and he said, "Hi, I hear you're a great photographer. I want you to tell me all about photography in 5 minutes." And that was the beginning of a relationship and friendship that I had with Frank for years, and we became best friends. So I'm sitting with Frank at dinner, and he pulls out these drawings and it says Sinatra, the main event. And it has this picture of the ceiling. It shows Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali nose to nose. He said, "This is what I want. I want you to create something like this for me." And I came up with the idea of Frank wearing a scarf that's white, and he's wearing a tuxedo. And then he's going like this with his gloves on his hands, and he's going like that. And that became the cover of Sinatra, the main event. What came out of that is a lot of great things. Like he said, "Don't tell anybody this. I just tell very few people. But my dream in life is to be the heavyweight champion of the world. So this event, the main event, is going to carry me and my dream until I die. And I want Howard Cosell to be the ring announcer."
So you helped him become the heavyweight champion of the world in Madison Square Garden with your creation.
I haven't thought about it that way, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, David Bowie. What do you keep in your home? What are some important pictures that you keep that you love to look at?
The important pictures to me are pictures that have an impact on other people. When a performer performs at Madison Square Garden, they know this is not just any performance. They have to perform at their best. So whether it's the Pope or LeBron James or Sinatra or Pavarotti, they sweat before they go out. Because even if they are who they are, they know that they have to perform at the highest level, that there is no higher level than this.
And you're there to capture that.
So I look at it as an incredible responsibility from my part, because if I don't capture an event the way it should be captured, that's my fault. And it's like taking the last shot in basketball. When I played, I loved taking the last shot.